Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for a miniature, we call it a miniature midweek catch-up. There we go. Championship review and reaction. Midweek catch-up on only 3 games. But when we get to this point in the season, seems like there's something, especially with the way the championship's laid out with 4 teams in the playoffs and 3 going down. Could imagine 4 went down. That'd be really something on every game, wouldn't it? But plenty of stories developing from last night's games where Rotherham, they took their cat, they found the biggest amount of pigeons they could, and they put their cat right in amongst those pigeons with a great win last night. And Swansea's bounce back continues, and Bournemouth's winning streak continues as well. Plenty for us to talk about. So say hello in the comments. Let me know that you can see me, hear me loudly, clearly, and we will get into this imminently. Thank you to our good friend, Russell, a fan and now friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. He is our fan sponsor for the Championship Review shows, and he did set up Bloom Clips as well, or Benjamin Bloom Clips. I don't know the exact term. Another YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to it. It's me a bit more succinctly, if you think about it. So thank you, Russ, for doing that. And thank you for your support. Russ got involved over on Patreon. You can do exactly the same. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. We're working towards 3 Patreon exclusive shows next season. Super chat at any time during the show. If you want to become the king of the bin, you just might. And YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Look for that. Look for the good old thumbs up and hit go on it. Subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. 15,100 subscribers. Let's say some hellos in here to Jack and James and Sophie, Leeds 2021, Honeygun, Steve, Eli, Mark, Sarah, Iain, Thomas, Annie, Cameron, Parton. We'll do questions in a bit. Kieran, Chris, Robert. Lovely stuff. Right, let's do this. So 3 results last night. We've got to go first to Sheffield Wednesday 0, Swansea 2. Get your thoughts in on this one. So Swansea 2 for 2 now. The 4-game losing streak is over in the best way possible with 6 points. 2 away games, 2 wins, no goals conceded, 5 scored. Mayhew and Lowe looking really back at it as well. So excellent stuff from Swansea over the last 2 games. Let's have a look at the teams for Sheffield Wednesday. Not the best news this past week. 2 more defeats for them as they get closer and closer to the drop. There's your teams. Westwood in goal. Hutchison, Lees, Burner, Palmer, Reach, Bannon, Pelupessy, Shaw, Rhodes, Windass. And Swansea stick with the 4-3-3. They stick with Wayne Routledge up there. Connor Roberts doesn't start again. Jake Bidwell doesn't start again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Goodness me. Woodman in goal. Norton, Bennett, Guay, Manning, Fulton, Grimes, Hurahan, Mayhew, Routledge, and Lowe. Let's have a look at the goals. It ends 2-0 to the Swans. And again, Mayhew and Lowe at it. Mayhew doing the grunt work here. Who's the Wednesday? I can't read the number there. In the middle of the Wednesday defender, he charged down, takes it on, slides it to Lowe. And we'll do the maths on their numbers in the last 2 games, but Lowe with 2 goals at the weekend, Mayhew with a goal at the weekend as well. Now an assist for Mayhew and another goal, getting real good output from their front 2. Swansea, aren't they? This is a great goal. There's Connor Roberts, the right back, who didn't start, obviously, a cross on the left-hand side. What a cross! With his left foot. Go and check that one out. I'm not even putting the finish in. Look at number 6, Fulton. You can see how he's going to arc that all the way through that corridor And it does look like Bannon is with Fulton, which is not desirable in the air, is it? But brilliant assist by Roberts, who's had such a great season, but is not in the starting 11 now. Let's have a look at the numbers. Tight in a lot of respects, other than the big chance count, isn't it? 51-49 on the possession, 6 shots apiece, 3 shots on target, but 3 big chances, 2 of which were converted. And this sounds like Swansea from earlier in the season, doesn't it? It sounds like Swansea keeping clean sheets, tight games, but winning them. Are they back at it? Let me know what you think in the comments. The table tells us that Swansea can still catch Norwich if Norwich were to lose their remaining 5 games and Swansea were to win their remaining 5 games with a goal difference swing of probably about 15 or something. So mathematically, in reality, that is, of course, not going to happen. But they are now, and Watford fans will be keeping an eye out, they are now 7 points behind Watford. They've played their game in hand. And remember Watford's final 2 games against Brentford and Swansea. That will be the glass half full scenario that Swans fans are going to want to be playing out here. Can Norwich and Brentford do a bit of bidding for Swansea whilst they kind of sneak on in there towards that last game, which to all intents and purposes, it could all be done by then, but you never know when it goes down to the last day. Sheffield Wednesday, 3 defeats in 4 now. We wondered whether the 5-0 win over Cardiff would do something. So 5 games to go for Wednesday, 15 points to play for. They are actually at a point per game. If you had the 6-point deduction on, they're at 41. Point per game from the remaining games this season, and they are down. We know that already because it'll only get to 40 points. Coventry have already got 42. So you do the maths. Is that 3 wins and 2 draws for survival to go to 46? Or is that 4 wins and a draw for survival to go to 48? These are the numbers we're talking about for Wednesday now as the season and perhaps their championship tenure ebbs away. Let's have a look here. What are we saying here? Imagine if Wednesday had not been deducted 6 points. Everyone up to Bristol City would be getting worried. Maybe indeed. Swansea hitting form at the right time. Playoffs going to be very entertaining. Cooper's grip on manager of the season was slipping, but sticking with his tactical change after it didn't work. V's Preston has tipped it back in his favour. No chance we're down. That's Julian Bonner. Thank you, Anir. Thank you, Nat. Looking ominous for Wednesday now. Those 6 points look like coming back to haunt the Owls. I've said this a few times about Wednesday. You'd almost rather be relegated by 8 points now than 5, wouldn't you? Just so you know, it wasn't the deduction that did for you, but psychologically. Steve, another decent performance from another tricky away game. Managed the game well. Didn't think Wednesday looked like relegation fodder. Wickham next. 5 goals now, none conceded. Swans are back. Well done. Congratulations, you Swans fans, after that horrible run. Right. Let's move on to Huddersfield versus Bournemouth. Remember, Brentford do have a game in hand. Of course, their game in hand is against Rotherham. And Rotherham are a little bit busy this week, as we've kind of realised. But Bournemouth are on fire, aren't they? And across 5 games, they're the best team in the league there. The only one with 5 nice green circles for 5 victories. And it was Huddersfield 1, Bournemouth 2. There is still some issues with Huddersfield at the bottom of the table. However, we are getting into the realms of someone in the bottom 3 needing to win a hell of a lot of games, especially to catch Huddersfield as well as others in the gap in between. But look, we'll look at the table in a bit. But Bournemouth look very, very dangerous, don't they now? If you're sat there as a playoff team, you'd probably be thinking, okay, well, Bournemouth fell out of the automatic race, and they're now sort of retooled to be able to have a go at the playoffs. And they're having a really good go at it, aren't they? And perhaps a decisive gap over Reading now in 7th place. Let's have a look at the teams. Schofield, Edmonds Green, Keogh, Saar, Hogg in front of them. And Benza, Rowe, O'Brien, Bacuna, Campbell, Holmes. And for the Cherries, Begovic, Smith, Carter, Vickers, Cook, Kelly, Pearson and Lerma. Brooks, another start. Billing, Danjuma, Solanke. I wonder if you promised him those 11 available, I reckon Woodgate would start a playoff semi-final first leg with that exact 11 at the moment. Looks like that's his team, doesn't it? Seems quite happy with, especially with Pearson in there and Billing playing ever so well too. And here is Billing scoring yet again. He's just got the knack at the moment. Good goal this, actually. Danjuma, as you can imagine, who's on fire, isn't he? Causing all sorts of trouble. He's got 3 players around him there. Danjuma on the floor on the left. His shot is parried by Schofield's. Good header by Billing. First time, diving header. Big, huge gap. You can see to Saar's left, and he sticks it into the back of the net. Dom Solanke's trying to be onside and not interfering there. It's like, I'm not going to move. Don't head the ball anywhere near me. Head it in the goal. Speaking of Dom Solanke, what a goal this is. Wow. Lines up the shot. Look, he's got an easy pass on to Brooks to the right-hand side, but he properly smacks that into the top corner and past Schofield in net. 2-0 Bournemouth at half-time. There is Hogg. That's a really good header, that. Glancing header, near post. You can see the gap. You know where that ball is going, to Begovic's right-hand side. In it goes. Get your comments in on Huddersfield and Bournemouth. Let's have a look at the numbers. Looks pretty viable from Bournemouth's point of view. Look at that. 15 shots, 5-3 on target, 2 big chances to 0. Just under on the possession, but sometimes game state, especially at 2-0, does mean sitting off and surrendering a little bit of possession. Have a look at that gap now, guys. Reading in 7th are now 5 points off the playoffs, given that Bournemouth victory. That was the game in hand for Bournemouth now. They're all caught up, but the table is nearly working itself out now. We're going to have Coventry on to 41 after Thursday, aren't we? And just a few more to catch up there. Brentford, Luton, Rotherham, obviously, as well. Is it done for Reading? I don't know. It's 5 points. They'd need pretty quickly a weekend where they win and one of Barnsley or Bournemouth loses. Bournemouth don't look like losing at the moment. Look at the goals scored column as well for Bournemouth. 66. Only there, Brentford with 71 ahead of the Cherries. We forget this sometimes when we're overcomplicating football. It's about scoring goals, and Bournemouth are the second highest scorers in the division. But hey, another one of those teams is going to possibly be in the playoffs with them at the moment in the semi-finals. If you look there, Brentford and Bournemouth. Brentford obviously could switch places with Swansea via that game in hand. For Huddersfield at the bottom, well, we talk about Rotherham in a second. All eyes on Rotherham. So Huddersfield have a 5-point gap, and Coventry have a game in hand, and Rotherham also have 2 games in hand. That Huddersfield-Rotherham draw at the start of the week is looking pretty vital now, because if Rotherham had won that game, you would now have Huddersfield on 43 and Rotherham on 42, and it would look very, very scary. We'll deal with Rotherham in isolation. Needless to say, Huddersfield need, well, a point per game from the last 5 games takes them to 49. Surely we're not going to get an entire bottom 3 or above the bottom 3 all at 50 points, are we? Who knows? We'll talk more about that tomorrow, I guess. Get your comments in there, Bournemouth and Huddersfield. No way it's over. Reading have to do the business versus Cardiff, whilst Bournemouth are at Norwich. That is very true. Bournemouth at Norwich on Saturday night, isn't it? Saturday night at the movies. Let's have a look at some more comments here. Cormac is hiding in the school toilets. That is tremendous. Well done. How we were hanging on the end is a mystery, but the 3 points are the most important. Absolutely. Bournemouth haven't played many good teams in the last 5. I tell myself as I worry about playing them in the playoffs. That Bournemouth team should be competing for, well, fine, whatever. Billings, 7th goal every time Billings scores. Bournemouth win, says Cherry's Red Army. I don't think either Swans or Brentford would want to play Bournemouth over 2 legs. I mean, there's arguments, though, when we get into the playoffs, you don't want to play any of the teams. Barnsley will press the hell out of you. Swansea can be very good without the ball defending and win a tight game. Brentford are the top scorers in the league, and Bournemouth are on a bit of a streak. So there'll be arguments against all of them. That's what makes the playoffs so beautiful, doesn't it? Huddersfield were woeful first half, constantly giving away possession. Bournemouth cruised into 2-goal lead. Second half was more even. Homeside Chester Spirit pulled one back. Cherries were comfortable. Great vocals, Ben. Up the Blues. Thank you, Kieran. Go and get to your next lesson, Cormac. Tremendous. Bad Wolf. Reading fans devastated. Not good. Look at the Blackburn fixtures. Yeah, it's all very well looking at points totals, but remember, every team under them has to go above them. And sometimes traffic is just the issue and people tripping and stumbling over each other. Anyway, let's talk Rotherham, because let's be honest, if you're any kind of neutral and not a Coventry, Derby, Birmingham, Huddersfield, Blackburn fan, this is what you wanted to happen. You wanted a bit of carnage down at the bottom of the table. And so far, the 4-game week has already plundered 4 points for Rotherham. We spoke a lot. Can they get 7 points this week? Well, they're going to get 4 because they've already got them. And now we'll be here for the watch along tomorrow. What a match tomorrow night between Rotherham and Coventry. Cannot wait. And why are we so excited? Because Rotherham beat QPR 3-1 last night. Absolutely vital result. And they came from behind as well. Look, Lyndon Dykes put in Rangers 1-0 up on 52. We'll look at the goals in a sec, but just the narrative around this is just brilliant. And we've spoken about no fans being in the ground. I forbid you, watch or I implore you rather, watch the footage and listen to the Rotherham staff as the Rotherham goals are going in. Absolutely brilliant scenes there. There are your teams: Johansson, Harding, MacDonald, Robertson, Giles, Olasunde, Barlassa, MacDonald, Wiles, Crooks, and Ladapo. 2 goals for Ladapo. And I did chat to Iain before the game, our Rotherham expert. Couple of players rested as well on the bench there. So maybe, and Iain will tell us better than I will for tomorrow, maybe Lewis Wing will start tomorrow. Maybe Michael Smith will start tomorrow. Richard Wood, the captain there, Lindsay as well. You wonder whether Paul Warne said to Ladapo and Smith, right, you're playing on Tuesday, you're playing on Thursday. And so just they can really focus on their week. Whatever he said, it worked and they won. There's your Rangers team: Dieng, Dickey, DeVries, Barbe, Hammerline and Kake, Field, Johansson, Thomas, Kelman. Oh, Kelman starts up front. Interesting. And Lyndon Dykes. And were they on the beach against a team with a hell of a lot to play for? I don't know. You tell me. Here are the goals. Brilliant goal from Lyndon Dykes. Check this one out. He absolutely wallops that right up into the top corner. Touch and finish. Excellent goal by Dykes. Absolute thumper. And Dykes has ended the season well, hasn't he? We've been a bit suspicious of whether he'd be up to it long term, but he's ended the season jolly well. Good goal this by Ladapo. Fizzed into him by Lewis Wing on the angle. Chest to bring it down. Sorry, nearly took me a bottle of water out there. Chest to bring it down and then hits it on the half volley early. It's a good goal by Ladapo, and he breaches the offside trap here to make it 2-1. And then Michael Smith, same deal here. Big breakaway, carries the ball a fair while and is able to finish past Dieng. It's a great result for Rotherham. Absolutely brilliant result for the Millers. And was it a viable one? Let's have a look at the numbers. Yes. 3 big chances to 1. They managed to get 14 shots, 5 to 3 on target. Okay, they had less possession. Warburton versus Vaughan. We would expect that to be the pattern, but excellent work from Rotherham. QPR, I guess we can ignore a little bit because they're on the beach, aren't they? They are 17 above relegation and 15, nearly perfect symmetry here. 17 and 15. I wonder if anyone can get... Oh, there you go. Stoke must be 16 and 16 then. Stoke are perfectly on the beach. Equidistant to the playoffs and the relegation zone. But anyway, look at that relegation zone now. Look at the 4 points to start the 4-game week. And we now know that if Rotherham beat Coventry tomorrow, look at the goal difference. Rotherham are out of the bottom 3. Both sides will be on 42 and Coventry would enter the relegation zone on goal difference. Remember then also, Rotherham on Sunday play Birmingham. So it's absolute carnage down there. Can they keep the momentum going? A second game in, with only 1 day gap in the middle. At the same stadium, though, having just won, can they keep it up? And look, they're above a point per game now. They're 1 point above a point per game. And they've just got to, you tell me about the next couple of games. I think they need 3 points across the next 2 games. Keep it 1.5 the next 2. And they would be at 42 from 40. I think Paul Warren would have taken that at the start of the week because that would mean the 7.4 game week that we spoke about. What are you guys saying in the chat? Right, so I'm just going to mute that one because I'm seeing the same comment about 10 times there. I've talked about Mark Ashton with Gregor McGregor. You can check that out elsewhere on the channel. Robert still thinks a bridge too far for Rotherham, but they've made the relegation fight exciting. Not sure I want exciting. There you go. We just keep on. Any other questions we can do in a second. Sorry, Tony. We'll focus on Rotherham at the moment. I think Rotherham will tail off against Coventry and on Sunday, but I know what you mean. Want Rotherham to stay up because of Paul Warren. Did Ladapo go off injured? I don't know. It says he did, but that's just where the Sofa Score reckons it's, a tactical substitution or could be a tiny knock, couldn't it? Who knows? Tomorrow is massive. 4 points already. Momentum could be key for the Millers. Made a handful of changes around the hour mark, which could keep their players fresh for the games ahead. Absolutely. Millers Cov, huge game. Got a feeling the Millers will beat Cov. But great start to their week. Talk about Dean Holden as well in a bit, who's been appointed the Stoke assistant manager now. Someone raised that in the questions when we're all done. Even game first, then Rangers took the lead. 2 goals in 2 from Ladapo, Warren, but on the players he'd rested and asked did little. Home hoodoo broken. Could afford draw versus Cov. That's an interesting angle at it, Chris. It's just while you've got them there on your pitch, can you take them? Do you know what I mean? So Rotherham Cov can't wait. Really don't want Coventry or Rotherham to go down. Looks like I'm going to be disappointed one way or the other. Come on, Rotherham. Madness down the bottom of the table. Great stuff. You love to see it, don't you? Rotherham are all over QPR. They're staying up. Cov draw with Rotherham, then we beat Rotherham. Happy days for the Blues. Yeah. Henry, great work. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. Hopefully 49 is enough. 49 is normally well enough. I know it wasn't last season, but on average, 10-year average 45, isn't it, to stay up? Rotherham v Coventry will be a 2-2 draw Interesting. Robbins played with Paul Warner's. Interesting at Rotherham, didn't he? Yes. Looked like he might have a groin strain. Ladapo. So look, we'll talk a bit about Dean Holden in just a sec. Any other questions, get them in. I'm not going to go the hour today. I'll do 4 or 5 more minutes, but let's do some questions if you want. But quick plug, tomorrow night. What time's the kickoff? I've got it written up there somewhere. No, I haven't. I don't know what time the kickoff is, but look, we're going to be here tomorrow night for the watch along. Is it 7 o'clock? I think it's the 7 o'clock kickoff. I can't recall, but huge game. Absolutely ginormous game of football at the bottom of the championship. There is Rotherham versus Coventry. Let's talk a little bit about Dean Holden then. Great news for Dean Holden. I do worry about these guys that their assistant manager, they get a job and then they get promoted. And then sometimes you worry that they're never going to work again. Damaged goods after a short run managing, having the main job at Bristol City. So really happy for Dean Holden to get back in at Stoke, which is very interesting because we've said, what's going to happen at Stoke now? It looks a bit of a failing by Michael O'Neill really this season. We expected them to. I predicted they'd finish in the playoffs. They're on the beach already, and I don't know what you think if you were Michael O'Neill now. Okay, they're bringing me in some extra staff here. What does this mean? They obviously want something more out of this. So, great news for Dean Holden. Obviously, well respected at Bristol City. Some people aren't cut out to be the main boss, are they? Some people are better working with a boss above them. So, good luck to Dean Holden. Be interesting to see how things shake out there. I really thought he was going to get another chance. Maybe Lee Johnson was going to... Yeah, and there was that idea as well. Good as well that Jason Tyndall's managed to get some work also, because you do worry about these guys. You never blame them. Never blame them for when the big job gets offered for taking it. You've got to take these chances in life, but it shouldn't be a death sentence to never work again if it doesn't work out. Thoughts on Mark Ashton? I've done loads on this. There's an interview with Gregor McGregor from the Bristol Post on the channel. I think Ipswich are in need of someone in that position, and I think Mark Ashton is way more qualified than anyone Ipswich have had in that position before. So I think it's a good fit for where Ipswich are now, and he fills that hole in between ownership and management. And I wouldn't pretend to know exactly what his remit was at Bristol City. We've got plenty of quotes from Gregor McGregor on that, but I'm pleased. I'm pleased that Ipswich have filled the position with somebody who's done that job before, plenty of places. So, and frankly, look at Bristol City over the last 4 or 5 years. If you gave that to Ipswich, a nice promotion out of League One, a few viable seasons, some good recruitment, some good sales, a cup win over Manchester United, and some stadium expansion, I think Ipswich fans would be biting your hand off after what's gone on for Ipswich in the last few years. Put it that way. Well done on chatting to Gregor. Yeah, I hope he is appreciated by City fans. And here, sometimes football fans, when it's not going well at their club, they look for somebody to have a pop at. And I'm friends with Stuart and Andy, the Ipswich journalists. And sometimes, people are lashing out at anyone they can. They end up lashing out at the journalists who are just reporting what's going on. But yeah, often they really don't deserve the ire of lots and lots of football fans. Right. Bottom 3 prediction. You ain't going to get one of those until after tomorrow night, James, I'm afraid. So with that being said, nothing going on tonight. I will be back. In fact, that's going to be the next video. I'll be doing the Patreon Q&A. So if you're a Patreon, you'll hear from me tomorrow during the day. We'll do the Q&A over there. And the next video you'll see will be the Rotherham and Coventry watch alongs. I'm going to call it quits there. I know I've just seen Steve and Russell, a couple of questions coming in, but I'm going to call it quits there. I wanted to go half hour today, so I promise I've read them. Go on, I'll try and give you a quick answer. Unlike West Brom, Stoke have been a complete failure at this level. Yeah, chaos. We always talk about avert chaos when you go down. Gave all the money to Rowett, then swapped to Jones, and that didn't work. Then swapped to O'Neill. No good. Looking at Ipswich results, is he the right man? The club needs an overhaul. It's an absolute overhaul time, Russell. And those players, there was a real sense last night that they've clocked off and they're not in this anymore. And it was horrible. Ipswich losing 3-0 at AFC Wimbledon last night. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Anyway, that'll do. There we go. You're welcome, Phil and Paul Warren, Red Army. That's all I needed to do, wasn't it? Are you going to clip me saying that? Paul Warren, Red Army. I met Paul Warren a couple of times. Lovely chat. Thanks, Annie. Cameron, Leeds 2021. Kieran, Nat, Amanda, Eli. Great to sit and spend 30 minutes with you today. Bit of a weird week because we have got a midweek, but we kind of haven't got a midweek. But we've got the big game tomorrow, which I'm sure you're all really up for. Rotherham versus Coventry. Going to be knock down, drag out, as they would say on WWE. Russell, thank you. James as well. And we will see you tomorrow night, unless there's big news break. We're still waiting for a Preston manager, aren't we? That won't happen before the end of the season, will it? Anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching. You can get me on Twitter or Instagram if you want to speak to me before tomorrow. And I will say over and out. And thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.